Have you seen what's in the teacup? Have you seen what's in mine? I've been writing you letters, do you even reply? I've only gotten one word from you, it was in German, and that word was Nein. Greece asked Germany to stop selling weapons to Turkey. Stop selling weapons, please, Germany. Stop selling weapons to Turkey. Don't you know that Turkey did the Armenian genocide? Don't you know that Turkey is involved in a war between Armenia and Azerbaijan, and they're involved in the slaughter of Armenian civilians? Why are you giving weapons to Turkey, Germany? Deutschland, please, please stop. Please. And Germany simply said, Nein, nein, nein. Greece, don't you understand? Yeah, you are simply a welfare country that took a bunch of money from the European banks and ultimately from all these good European taxpayers. Yeah, and now you are trying to tell us what to do? We are Germany, we are Deutschland, Deutschland, über alles. We are one of the most powerful economies in the world. You, on the other hand, take welfare money from wealthy European countries and very, very hard-working European people. So don't you ever think that you have any sort of position to tell us what to do. So, guten Tag, shut up, and start working to pay back the money that you owe us. Or we are going to impose even harsher austerity measures, yeah. And so Greece is not even in a position to tell Germany what to do. You have Germany and you have Turkey. Turkey is the second most armed country in all of NATO. And Germany is a very, very powerful country, not just in Europe, but one of the most powerful countries in the world. In fact, after the Second World War, the United States chose Germany to have a very powerful economy by which to back the American greenback. So Germany, to this day, is a very, very powerful country, even though Germany lost the war in the Second World War, obviously. We all know what happened. Germany is still a very powerful country, and after the Second World War, you know, Germany was able to recuperate from the war, from all the damage that was done to Germany, you know, being bombed and all that. Germany was able to still recuperate. And here you have Greece, which, Greek, we are Greeks, menos ageros, ageros, menos, menos. We are very, very powerful people, here in Greece. Yeah, very powerful. We had great empire, Spartan Empire, Athens Empire, Socrates, Plato. Yeah, we once ruled the whole world with our brains. We're so smart. But yet Greece today is a welfare country that has a poor economy, has really an economy that is controlled by the Germans. In fact, pretty much all of Europe is controlled by Germany. I went to Italy last year, and I can tell you right now that you go to the subway in Italy, and it's German engineering. The toilet, German made. The shower, German made. The entire economy in Italy is controlled by the Germans. And guess what? All the Italians know it. All the Italians know it. A bunch of Italian people that I talked to when I was over there, they told me the same thing. They're like, our economy is controlled by the Germans. So you have Turkey, second most armed country in NATO, buying weapons from the Germans, and the Germans are like, we have a very, very strong arms industry here in Deutschland, and we're going to make money, unlike you Greeks, who are simply taking welfare from hardworking, good European people. Germany doesn't care about what Greece says. And the Greeks, of course, they are Orthodox Christians, and the Armenians are Orthodox Christians, and Turkey is killing Armenians through its proxy Azerbaijan, of course. And the Greeks, understandably, have a kinship with the Armenians, and they want to help the Armenians. And they do so by telling Germany to stop sending weapons to Turkey. Germany is making a lot of money from arms deals. Germany is a big arms exporter. You can go all the way to Mexico and you'll see drug cartels with H&K weapons. So of course, Germany is going to continue sending weapons to Turkey, not with a care in the world about what Turkey does with them, because, ThyssenKrupp needs to make its money. Rheinmetall needs to make its money. So none of this is really that surprising at all. People act shocked when they hear about how strong of an alliance America has with Turkey, or how strong of an alliance Germany has with Turkey. The fact is that Germany has had a strong alliance with the Turks ever since Germany actually became a country in the 1870s. When Germany formed as an official country, Germany made an alliance with the Ottoman Empire. America has never had a war with the Ottoman Empire. America has sold weapons to the Turks for decades and decades and decades. When Turkey was butchering the Greek Christians in Smyrna, the Americans simply said, let's get in our Navy ships and go away, as the Greeks cry in pain and beg for help. When the Turks began to slaughter the Greek Christians in Smyrna, this was after the First World War, all of the Americans and all the Europeans who were living in Smyrna at the time, they would play tennis and have fun. And, Smyrna was a really big, beautiful tourist city. And all these tourists were like, hey, let's put our fancy clothes on and get the tennis rackets and let's get the hell out of here. So here's the thing. A lot of NATO countries, I would say all of the really powerful NATO countries, probably with the exception of France, don't really give a damn about fascism or how many people Turkey has killed or how many people any of their allies have killed. They only care about their interest. I mean, hell, Saudi Arabia butchered tens of thousands of Yemenis, and we still consider Saudi Arabia a very, very important strategic ally in the Middle East. The fact remains that Turkey is America's most important ally in the Mediterranean. America really wants to have Turkey as an ally within the Mediterranean because we want the Turks to do our dirty work in the Middle East. We want Turkey to control Syria. We want to use Turkey really as a NATO satellite against the Russians in the Middle East. When Russia invaded Ukraine, and yes, Russia invaded Ukraine, a lot of Russians get sensitive when you say that for some reason, but yeah, Russia invaded Ukraine, it's quite obvious. Russia took control of Crimea. They took control of that area of Ukraine that's on the Black Sea. And here's the interesting thing about Ukraine and Turkey. They seem like complete opposites culturally, but geographically, they're actually very, very close to each other. When you go to the Black Sea area of Turkey, you just cross the Black Sea and you're in Ukraine. So in one moment, you're with a bunch of people who sound like this. Yıldırım, yıldırım, yağladım, yağladım. And then you cross the Black Sea and all of a sudden you're in the land where people say things like Stroka, Grozna, Ya, Goloda, Ya, Ruda, Kruda, Gestorka. I'm not saying any real words, but that's how all of these Russian languages sound. Ukrainian, Belarusian, Russian. They all sound the same to me, although I understand they're different languages. So Turkey is a huge ally for NATO. We don't give a damn, well, I care personally, but NATO as a whole, generally speaking, doesn't give a damn if Turkey killed 1 million Armenians in the year 1915 to 1918. America wouldn't give a damn if Turkey killed 1 million Armenians today. Yes, of course, you will have elements within the American government saying, no, this is wrong. You have plenty of American Christians, Catholic, evangelical, Orthodox, Protestant, saying, no. You'll have plenty of Christians from all sorts of denominations saying, no, America must stop, America must intervene, yada, yada, yada. But for the most part, the American government doesn't care. There's a video you can see of Mike Pence saying, yeah, the Armenian genocide happened. Yes, it was horrific. It was horrible. Yes, we shouldn't deny it. But I really don't want to sit here and support some sort of government measure that exclaims the American recognition that the Armenian genocide took place because Turkey is a strategic ally. Remember what Trump said. He said, we're pulling out of Syria. Let other people take care of the situation. All of those Muslim people in Syria, those Middle Eastern Semite desert people, they've been killing each other for a long time. The deserts of Syria are littered with the blood of all these people, and we're going to wash our hands of all of it. We're going to have someone else take care of the situation there. Who was Trump referring to? Trump was referring to Turkey, because that's exactly what happened after America pretty much, for the most part, pulled out of Syria and ceased any sort of serious interventionist policy in Syria. Now, I mean, America still has a presence in Syria. Believe me, it's the American empire we're talking about. Even when America officially left Iraq, there was still an American military presence there. And I think a lot of American troops were simply parked in Kuwait. So, and Kuwait is right next to Iraq, so America isn't just going to leave. But what America has done is allowed other countries to intervene in Syria with more of an accentuated presence. And so you have Russian mercenaries in Syria, Russian soldiers in Syria, lots of Turkish soldiers in Syria. So we want Turkey to be powerful. We want Turkey to be our ally so we can control Turkey and use Turkey to do our work in the Middle East. Armenians, both American Armenians and Armenians in Armenia, they get very upset when they hear about how America doesn't really want to talk about the Armenian genocide. And they'll say, look, America is bowing down to Turkey. And the reason why America doesn't like to talk a lot about the Armenian genocide is because we want to use Turkey and we don't want to piss Turkey off. For example, the whole Nagorno-Karabakh situation. Now, I was saying Nagorno-Karabakh, but someone corrected me. Thank you. The whole Nagorno-Karabakh situation. For those of you who don't know, Armenia and Azerbaijan have been fighting over this region called Nagorno-Karabakh, which is officially a part of Azerbaijan, but it is inhabited mainly by ethnic Armenians. And so Armenia believes that Nagorno-Karabakh belongs to Armenia, but officially the region belongs to Azerbaijan, and Azerbaijan, of course, wants to maintain its sovereignty over that region. Okay, so after giving that brief explanation, America, for a long time, has seen Turkey as the perfect agent of mediation between Azerbaijan and Armenia in that conflict. And the United States is afraid that if it starts talking about the Armenian genocide all the time, or it starts talking too much about the Armenian genocide, that Turkey will no longer want to cooperate with the United States in being a force for peace in the Middle East. Now, I think that a lot of that is just a bunch of BS. Because ultimately, Turkey, just like all these other very powerful countries, focuses on one thing, and that is Turkey's interest. And what is Turkey's interest in the region? Turkey's interest, to put it very simple, is to control the Middle East. Turkey wants to revive the Ottoman Empire. Turkey, at one point in time, had a very strong empire. It controlled the Middle East. It controlled parts of Eastern Europe. It controlled the Balkans for a long time. And yeah, it wants to have its territories back. Just like, the reason why Russia invaded the Ukraine was because Russia still believes, that Crimea belongs to Russia. In fact, Russia believes that Ukraine belongs to Russia because Ukraine is the birthplace of Russian culture. Ukraine is the birthplace of the Russian Empire. Ukraine is the birthplace of Russian Christianity. So Russia still believes that Ukraine belongs to Moscow. Not surprising at all. All these countries want to revive their empires. Turkey wants to revive their empire. The Russians want to do the same thing. The Japanese want to do the same thing. France wants to do the same thing. That's why as soon as that big ass explosion happened in Lebanon, who was who was in Lebanon the next day? It was Macron. Why is France so interested in what's happening within Lebanese politics? Isn't Lebanon completely independent from French colonial power? Sure, Lebanon was a colony of France for a very long time. I mean, the Maronites are essentially Francophiles who want to be French. But the bottom line is that France still wants to control Lebanon. And that's why France has been so involved in Lebanese politics. Why is France so involved in this whole situation between Armenia and Azerbaijan? Because at one point in time, the French were heavily involved in rescuing Armenians during the Armenian genocide. And France still has a very strong interest in that area. That's why the French have been more sympathetic for the Armenians as opposed to the Azerbaijanis, because the French see Armenia as a closer ally than Azerbaijan. And it's probably also that the French see an opportunity to establish their geopolitical leverage in that region. But the two countries that have the biggest enthusiasm about controlling the South Caucasus are Russia and Turkey. Why? Because Russia and Turkey historically have been superpowers who have controlled the Caucasus. There was a battle during World War I between the Turks and the Russians. It's called the Battle of Baku. Baku is the capital of Azerbaijan. It's also one of the biggest oil producers on earth. That's pretty much the biggest reason why the countries have an interest in Azerbaijan. And the Turks defeated the Russians in the Battle of Baku and took control of the city. And there was actually a pretty horrific pogrom that happened during World War I, where the Armenians butchered a bunch of Azeris. And so the Azeris begged Turkey for help, and the Turks intervened and became the protector for the Azeris. And ever since then, there's been a very strong emotional connection and alliance between the Turks and the Azerbaijanis. Of course, the Turks will use any sort of situation to deepen their control over whatever region they want to control. But there's been a very strong alliance for a long time. So that's the whole thing. That's really the whole thing. I believe that Turkey wants to revive the Ottoman Empire. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's pretty much established that that's what Turkey wants to do. And I think that Turkey wants to resume where they left off in the Armenian genocide. I believe that it is horrific that the United States has an alliance with Turkey. At the same time, though, I understand the policy reason why, because we want to use Turkey, we want to control Turkey. But I think it's horrific that we will ally with murderous regimes. But here's the thing: the United States has an inclination to side with fascistic countries. NATO will sympathize more with fascism. That's why the United States will back the Saudis. That's why the United States will back the Azov battalion in Ukraine, literal neo-Nazi paramilitary fighters in Ukraine. That's why Germany, look at Germany. Germany, the biggest example of fascism in history was done by Germany. And the Germans, well, for a while, they had a big problem with a paramilitary group called UNITA, and UNITA wanted to do a revolution in Germany and take over the government and kill all the left-wing politicians. And this was revealed in 2018. And there was German intelligence all over that. Look up the National Socialist Underground murders that happened. I think it was back in the 1990s and early 2000s. Bunch of German Nazis were walking around just shooting immigrants. They murdered a poor Greek immigrant. They murdered some Turkish immigrants. And German intelligence was all over that stuff. So there are still plenty of Nazis within Germany. There's still plenty of Nazis within that country that, created the Third Reich. So that shouldn't shock us at all. But Russia tends to back countries that are socialistic, left-wing socialistic. That's why Russia will back Venezuela. That's why they'll back Bolivia. The United States will back countries that are inclined towards fascism. That's why we support Japan. Japan is under the LDP, the Liberal Democrats, and they were founded. When they first took power in Japan, their political victory was backed by the CIA, and the first LDP prime minister in Japan was Nabasuke Kishi, and he was a confirmed war criminal for the Japanese Imperial Empire that butchered millions of people and that went to war with the United States. We don't care because we see our policy as being for the expansion of American empire, and also we see it as a powerful and effective way to counter the Russians. So really, morality goes out the window, human life goes out the window, and all that is the focus is the American greenback. And the United States, like it always has been, will eventually have to face the consequences of its actions, just like the United States did in World War II. We are creating a monster. Yesterday, I did a video about how the United States has been creating a Japanese monster again. And the United States right now is creating a Turkish Frankenstein that it will have to deal with in the future. Because as the American empire decides to recluse itself, other powerful countries are stepping in to fill in the vacuum. And that's why you see Turkey taking control of the Middle East. That's why you see Germany reviving itself as a global power. That's why you see Japan continuing tensions against China over the South China Sea, really over the seas of Northeast Asia. You're seeing old empires revive themselves, and that's the bottom line. Anyway, hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Hope you guys have learned something from this video. You guys just heard some theology. God bless.